Email marketing. Now, why email marketing? Da? There are already a lot of videos in YouTube. Now you want to make another email marketing video? What nonsense! No, pa. After the pandemic, email marketing role has been significantly increased. Now everyone's sitting in front of the system or laptop and looking for the emails. And so email marketing role has been significantly improved, and also the algorithms of the mailbox providers have been okay. Check this.
There has been 94% increase in inbox volume from the year 2020 to 2021, and that makes more challenging to keep the email recipients more engaged. And this is a period when pandemic has come, and that's a good sign to say that there is more volume of emails coming into the inbox. But what happened as a as an action of maintaining quality email experience, mailbox providers have tightened their algorithms to evaluate each and every email. That is something is not a good news for the email marketers. And this led to 9% decrease in average inbox placement and 5% decrease in average open rates, with inbox volume almost doubling. According to Statista reports in 2021, it says that by 2022, 4.3 billion email users will be said to be there, and by 2025, it is expected to be 4.6 billion users, which is like half of the planet is going to have email IDs. And what are we going to look into going forward is that what happens after you click your send button, what happens between you and your receiver, and what does really mailbox providers care about. And they care about three factors. We'll be looking into those three factors and also understand what kind of benchmarks and what are the root causes of when you are coming less than the usual benchmarks of these metrics. The email sender, the moment they send an email, your mail server will forward them to internet, and then they would be routed inside internet. And at the same time, they'll be checked over block lists that are publicly available, and then receivers mail server does evaluate email based upon your sender history, based upon your reputation score or your domain score, and then it understands what could be the importance of your email, and then it places either in the inbox of the receiver or in the spam, junk, or updates or promotion. So what does really MBP look into? See, if we try to get into the shoes of an MBP mailbox provider, what would their objectives be? Let's say that you are providing a mailbox to one of your clients, and your objective would be to make sure that their mailing experience is so well that they don't receive any spam emails, or they don't get any virus attacks, or there is no spoofing that is done based upon using their domain. Isn't it? These are your major priorities, right? So that's what MVP does. And how does it do is based upon the algorithm that they design to keep the mailing experience sophisticated enough. Now, there are three important factors usually this MVP is looking to. The first thing is identity, the second thing is reputation, and the third one is engagement. Let's look into these three factors. When it comes to understanding evaluating the identity, we would look at two things. One is IP address, and the second one is domain. IP address is something that we can everyone have got a privilege of having multiple IP addresses. That's the reason even domain is something that MPPs keep evaluating. Domain is not something that one can change so easily. So that's the reason a combination of IP address and domain scoring will help MPP in evaluating your email. And also based upon your send history, where your previous mail has ended, or how your previous mail was treated by the user. Based upon this send industry, also it understands your identity. And the authentication, based upon these records like SPF, DKIM, DMARC, your message can be more authenticated, and it can be shared as a legitimate message from email spoofing or any viruses. But how do you really strengthen your identity? The first thing that we have to look into, and very important, is that you have to maintain consistency in your mailing volume. An inconsistency in the volume of your emails. One day you send 5,000, and after 10 days you send 300. And so this inconsistency could trigger a lot of doubts in the MVPs. So it is very good, if we maintain the consistency in our email sending volume. And the second thing is that when you are taking a new IP address, it is very important to warm up your IP address. And the warm up is nothing but the very first 500 mails that you send out. And authentication of your email program using SPF, DKM, and the DMARC is something very important, and you can't ignore it. Now, when it comes to reputation, the exact reputation calculation of MVPs is something that we are not aware of. We cannot be aware of, but still, there are three things that usually MVPs calculate the reputation based upon the complaints, based upon the spam traps, based upon the blockage. The complaints are nothing but when a user receives an email, they complain the mail about as by reporting it as a spam or junk. That would be a complaint. When it comes to spam traps, there are two types of spam traps. One is pristine spam trap, and the other one is a recycled trap. The first, in the first pristine spam traps, there are specific email IDs which are designed, but they are never allocated to any human being. But still, if they receive an email, and that is considered as a spam email. When it comes to the other kind of trap is recycle traps. These are the email IDs where usually someone have already used the email IDs, but once they are abandoned, but still they are kept alive to see if someone is not still in the organization but still receiving the emails, which means that the chances are very high that they can be treated as promotional emails or kind of spam or. And the third one, very important, is that block list. This block list is a list of domains or IP addresses that are named as blocked. There are approximately 100 block lists, and you can check if your domain or IP address is in the block list. And this block list and if MVPs can find your IP address or domain in this block list, that would be a bad news for you. So how do you build up your reputation? The very first thing that you'll have to do is monitor your reputation based using some tools that we are going to talk about in the coming slides. And the second thing is that you need to keep your list clean. Like something like you have sent 4 mails, but one of the emails is not open, which means that it is not something worthy to send. It could be a spam trap as well, or hard bounces is something that you should definitely avoid them. And the third thing is that sign up for feedback loop. You need to identify which are your valuable ones for your programs, and then sign up for them to receive feedback. The fourth one is that check for block listing. You can see if your domain has been listed in any of the block lists, and then identify where complaints are coming from which domain complaints are coming from, so that you can see what kind of corrections can be done. And the last one, you need to have a dedicated IP address. Shared IP address is definitely a difficult task, because any other domain which is using the same IP address and can send emails that are irrelevant and can get marked as spam. And when you send emails with the same IP address, and the chances are very less for you to be placed into the inbox. And having a new IP address is not something that we should be more inclined towards, but still, if you are, you should definitely follow up the warm-up procedure. When it comes to engagement, it is highly important for us to this scenario that we need to prioritize the engagement metrics like open rate or what is the click-through rate or the reply, or it's even more important for us if someone forwards that email. That's a very good sign for the MVPs to understand this is these kind of mails, or this mail, or this sender is sending some mail which is very appropriate or important for this organization. And so we need to definitely look into building our engagement metrics. And when it comes to how do you enhance your engagement, is that the very first thing you need to look at is you are segmenting your list, based upon the designations, based upon the industry. That helps you in designing content that is more relevant to them, something that they would be liking more and that they would be engaged more. And also you need to evaluate your past metrics that will help you in deciding what kind of corrections have to be done for your email or for your lists as well. Here are some industry average open rate based upon 2020 from the DMA report. Apart from publishing, you can see that 20% is something that is very much considered to be usual. And here are usual benchmarks for metrics for you to understand what should be your metrics. When it comes to bounce rate, it should be less than 0.5%. When it comes to your unsubscribers rate, it has to be less than 0.5%. When it comes to your open rate, it should be more than 20%. When it comes to click-through rate, it should be more than 5 or 6%. And the conversion rate is completely dependent upon the kind of conversion that you have. And there are different factors that come into the picture at this stage, like the average ticket size or the funnel size or the sales cycle. So based upon this, your conversion rate is something that you can be aware of. If your bounce rate is high, and then what could be the possible root cause is that your email list quality is not good, or if you might be mailing repeatedly to people who are not active or could be from your old list as well, and you have a bad send history, which means that someone have marked you as spam or junk, or open rate is not really good with your previous emails, you would have been added into the block list. If you're having less unsubscribers rate, your content could be inappropriate, and your email list could be bad, or your opting in practice could be weak. If your open rate is less, your subject line could be bad, or or the ISPs could be blocking. And your click-through rate is less, your value proposition that you're offering is not something that they are looking for, or your content is not impressing them, and the call to action is not something that are not compelled enough to bring them to the action. And if your conversion rate is less, probably you should look into your landing page. And the second thing is that there could be ambiguity when someone is clicking on email and then going to a landing page. They see a different detail or something that is not as promised in your email. So that could be another reason. Here are some tools to test your email score and also to test your reputation score. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this session on email marketing and you're going to use this knowledge in implementing or bettering your email marketing as well. I wish you a great marketing ahead.